What's up guys, my name is Colin and you're watching Star Lores. Okay guys, I don't know about you, but for my money, General Grievous has to be one of the most memorable and recognizable characters from the prequel trilogy.
What's the situation, Captain?
That look, that metallic death mask he wears, the four arms, the lightsabers, the cough, the voice, it's all so unforgettable. And even though Grievous had a pretty minor impact in the film he actually appeared in, I think we all kind of look back at the prequels and he's one of the guys who stands out. Now, above all that other stuff I mentioned, I think there's one thing we all remember about Grievous, and that's obviously killing Jedi and collecting their lightsabers as trophies. But what the movie never even attempts to explain to you, aside from who the hell this cyborg monster thing is why he hates Jedi so much. And there is actually a reason for that, which I will explain to you in this video.
You will try.
Now before I get onto the actual explanation of why Grievous hates Jedi with such a passion, I need you guys to be on the same page as I am. Because some of you out there are probably thinking, well, look, he was the supreme commander of the separatist forces during the clone army, he was a general on the battlefield, the Jedi were on the opposite side, so yeah, of course they're enemies, of course he killed them, no big deal. No.
How rude.
Grievous collecting lightsabers is so much more than just a soldier doing his duty, or in this case a general. Having them as trophies, and remember, that's what they were mementos. The guy had 4 arms and 2 legs, okay? He needed maximum 6 lightsabers, probably less, and he had a lot more than that. So let's go ahead and acknowledge that they were not tools to him. He relishes the killing of Jedi. It's a pleasure for him. It's not a duty, it's not a task, he's not reluctant in any way. He actually enjoys not only killing them, but terrorizing them as well. Now, the question is, what would cause a man or a machine or a half man or half machine to hate Jedi this much? After all, this is before the fall of the Republic. That whole anti-Jedi propaganda thing isn't really out yet, and there's no real reason why someone in the Star Wars universe would just decide, okay, I hate Jedi, based on nothing personal. Well, that's what it is, isn't it? It's something personal. And to find out what that something is, we have to go all the way back to General Grievous's previous life as a Kaleesh warrior. Now, what the hell is a Kaleesh? Well, the planet Kalee is sort of an insignificant rock full of relatively primitive, warlike people. They kind of look like giant bugs. And that's what Grievous actually was. His name in those days was Kwaimin Jai Shilal, and he was a warrior and later a hero to his people. Now here's what happened some years before the General Grievous we all know and love emerged. Kalee was invaded by a race called the Yamri. Now the Yamri are these sort of praying mantis type evil bug people. Evil might be a little strong, but they're a race that lives to conquer others. And they had picked Kalee as their next target. They invade the planet, they slaughter a bunch of people, there's a big war. Eventually the Yamri win and they enslave the Kaleesh. Now, with the help of General Grievous, once again, he was called Kwaimin Jai Shilal, and a bunch of other Kaleesh, they actually repelled the invasion from the Yamri and even counter-invaded them, taking over the Yamri's own homeworld. So at this point, the conqueror had become the conquered. Now, somewhere along the line, General Grievous's companion, maybe his mate, you might say, whatever the cultural term may be, dies at the hands of the Yamri. And Kwaimin is grief-stricken. He goes on with the war, throws himself into battle. I think at one point he has like 10 wives and like 30 children, and none of it helps. None of it helps him get over the pain of losing this companion that he lost. And it's at that time that he chooses the name Grievous. Now, everything is working out okay for the Kaleesh. They counter-invaded the Yamri. Now they're kind of enslaving them. Not saying I condone that, but it is what it is. And of course the Yamri call to the Republic for help. The Republic send a couple Jedi. Grievous actually says it's up to 50 Jedi, although I'm not really sure if that number's accurate, but at least a few do come to help negotiations. Basically, the Yamri say that, hey, we're the victims here, the Kali invaded us, look at us, we're being enslaved, we're being killed, you gotta help us. And I guess the Kalish did not put up a very good counter-argument because the Jedi ended up siding with the Yamri. So the Republic puts these huge sanctions on the planet Kali. Kali wasn't really economically booming beforehand, but now it's dead. Traders avoid the area, there's really nothing going on, and again, according to Grievous, there's mass starvations in the hundreds of thousands. It's an absolute tragedy. The planet is in its death throes. Oh, and I should also mention that Kali is barren of resources and relatively useless to the Republic. The Yamri homeworld, on the other hand, not the case. It has resources they can use and exploit. I'm not saying that's the reason they sided with the Yamri. You guys can be the judge of that. Anyways, back to the whole mass starvation and tragedy thing. This is where the intergalactic banking clan inserts itself into the situation.
The banking clan will sign your treaty.
Good, very good.
They come in as sort of a savior. They offer Grievous not only help for his people, but a job for him. Remember, at this point, this guy is a sort of psychotic war hero who doesn't have a war to fight anymore. And he gets a job as essentially a trumped up debt collector. I definitely know that I would pay my debts if Grievous showed up in my door, right?
Expecting someone with your reputation to be a little older.
So anyway, what follows is a series of carefully pre-planned tragedies. A shuttle that Grievous is traveling in explodes, he almost dies, and in fact, Count Dooku, Poggle the Lesser, the Archduke of Geonosis, the intergalactic banking clan, they all conspire to hurt him even more to get his physical body to a point where it's irreparable. So now you have a situation where Grievous is like a husk. He's like a torso and a head at this point floating in Bacta. And you can imagine for a being that places all their self-worth in terms of how they can fight and what kind of warrior they are, this is not a good situation to be in. And you've got him indebted to the intergalactic banking clan and of course their buddies, which is the Techno Union, Geonosis, Count Dooku, all the people who would eventually form the separatist movement. And they come to him and they're like, don't worry Grievous, we can rebuild you, we're gonna give you this cybernetic body, you're gonna be even better than before. There's not much left of Grievous, his organs, his brain, his scarred face, and he's put in this shell that you guys now know as General Grievous. Now, during that process, there was a little bit of tampering, probably a little bit of reprogramming, some Sith magic going on to influence Grievous and bend him over not only to their will, but to hating the Jedi. But let's not forget that that kind of stuff isn't going to push Grievous alone to hate the Jedi. He has to have a reason. He has to have a motivation that they use to their advantage. And of course, that motivation is the perception that the Jedi and the Republic that they serve doomed his planet to death and dishonor. The mass starvation of his people, the economic depression of his planet, losing the war to the Yamri, losing his own purpose in life. All of this, Grievous pins on the Jedi and the Republic. Imagine you're him for a second. Your entire world has been destroyed. You fight for your very life, for the life of your people. You lose your one true love. You finally get to the finish line, so to speak, and a couple Jedi walk in and they say, nope, actually what you did was all for naught. See you later, you lose. You can understand at this point how Grievous was pulled into the service of the separatists. All of those events coming together to create this one laser beam of hatred that is General Grievous. Then, of course, he gets trained in the Jedi lightsaber arts by Count Dooku. He develops this style where he can use 4, 5, hell, maybe even 6 lightsabers, I guess, if he uses his feet. And he does the one thing that perhaps gives him solace: killing Jedi and waging war. He's a shadow of his former self, but maybe every Jedi he's killed, every lightsaber he's collected, brings him that much closer to peace. Maybe all of these trinkets give him a modicum of relief from the weight of the decades and decades of pain and hatred that this being has had to endure. Or maybe not. Maybe his hate only fuels more hate and he died angrier and more soulless than he ever was. That's kind of up to you guys to decide. As a side note, by the way, guys, collecting lightsabers was actually a practice that Count Dooku despised. He viewed it as a tasteless desecration of the fallen
Don't let your
Jedi.
pursuit of trinkets cloud your reality.
So guys, that is the somewhat convoluted backstory of why General Grievous really does hate those Jedi so much. But I actually want to know what you guys think. I want to know if you think that his feelings are justified and how much of that is really General Grievous and how much of it is Count Dooku and Pogo the Lesser sort of reprogramming him. Let me know in the comments below, and also let me know if you want more videos on Grievous, because I got a few ideas in mind. Until then, guys, I will see you next time. This is Colin for Star Lords saying may the Force be with you.